Well, Mr. Taylor, if you were one of the original founders of Ag Services, how did that actually come about, and what made Golden Valley decide to go that route?
Well, years ago, everybody was expected to have a safety program and a safety director. I think everybody just went into their operations and appointed somebody within the operations to be their safety director. That made it very difficult for them to be very focused on a safety program because they had other job duties. Regulations got stiffer, and it became more obvious that we were going to have to be more dedicated to a safety program. So a group of co-op managers got together to talk about similar problems and decided that maybe we could come up with a situation where we could hire one guy full-time and share him amongst us to be a full-time safety director. And one thing led to another, and we were able to pull together Safety LLC #1.
Well, that was quite the commitment on your guys' part, as well as the other managers, to stay involved. How'd you manage to keep everybody kind of on the same page?
I think from day one, everybody was on the same page. We all realized what had to be accomplished, what we had to do. We all realized if we was going to do this, we had to be 100% committed to the program in order for it to work. And I think that's still the case. Anybody that's in Ag Services safety program needs to be 100% committed to the program.
Now, a lot of people in the ag industry, they have what I would consider to be a compliance type program, but here at Golden Valley, you guys have really focused on a safety program. Can you tell me how you managed to do that?
Like I said, you have to be 100% committed to the program or it won't work. I always make it very clear to our employees that the safety director has the power when they go through and try to educate them on a safer way of doing something. They need to do that. We do not have a safety budget. If there's something that needs to be purchased or change needs to be made in our operations, we do it. I don't think you can put a budget on employee safety.
I know you've had multiple safety directors through the years, and every one of them that's come through here brags about the cleanliness of your two elevators. Can you talk how you've managed to keep those elevators as clean as possible and as efficient as they are?
That's a good employee commitment, and that comes from correct education, correct training through the safety program. It also you have to be all in, and it has to start at the top. Our board of directors is very committed to the safety program, as is management at all levels. It's just a matter of teaching them how to do it the right way. They can do it the right way just as easy as they can do it the wrong way. It's just the right way is better.
I know you talked at one point that you had shown a safety video to your two, in particular, your elevator men, and that convinced them early on that they needed to keep their elevators clean. How'd you do that?
They had pretty good knowledge of the elevator business and what they were supposed to do, but they needed some more training, so I brought them in and showed them the dust explosion video, and that did it. That scared them. That scared them so bad that they just do not allow any dust of any kind to accumulate anywhere. Leads to pretty clean elevators. Again, a commitment on their part.
What do you feel that Golden Valley does best in terms of safety?
Promote it all the time. It has to be the biggest thing on everybody's mind when they come to work. You have to do your work safely so you can go home.
What kind of commitments has the company made to the safety program?
At all levels. We do extensive training. The training never ends. It's ongoing. Like I said, the board of directors is extremely committed to the program. We make sure that all of our employees get correct safety training when they are hired. There's an orientation process. They have to pass testing. We don't, like I said, we do not budget for safety. We spend whatever money it takes to keep everything safe. And any new projects that we do, you always focus on the safety side of it to make sure that's going to be done. The completed project will be correct.
Well, as you know, there's a lot of turnover in the cooperative world as well as just ag business in the CEO position, and we're seeing a lot of younger or newer managers coming up. What advice would you give to them in terms of when they say they can't afford to purchase new safety equipment or make the investment in employees' time for training, as an example?
You can't afford not to invest. We have had a fatality. It was truly an accident, not due to safety. But if they live through one of those, I think they'll understand that you cannot afford not to invest in safety. You want your employees to go home at night. And that's a very hard thing when you have to meet with somebody's widow to tell them that their husband's not coming home anymore.
I can't imagine doing that.
It's pretty hard.
What makes a good safety director in your opinion?
Good question. I don't know what it takes, but I know that we've always been blessed with good safety directors. I've met an awful lot of them through the Ag Services program, and they're all of them excellent.
So what convinced you to stay with the program this long?
It's a necessary program. It's something that we have to have. It's something we can't replace. And it's been very successful, very successful.
What other things should we know about Golden Valley's safety program that you haven't shared with us yet?
It never ends. And no matter how safe you think you have your operations, there's always something else. You have to always keep looking, always be willing to make changes, because it never stops.
On that note, that seems to be a level of frustration for a lot of management as well as safety directors. How would you address that with them?
It's a challenge, but you have to be up to the challenge. You have to make that commitment to your employees. The commitment to safety program is a commitment to your operations and, more importantly, your employees. That makes it a little easier if you think about it on those terms.
We've got a lot of larger cooperatives now leaning heavily on online safety training. Do you feel like that's a good thing?
Only to a certain extent. I still think you have to have feet on the ground. You have to have people going and physically inspecting your facilities on a regular basis. You have to have personal contact with the employees to visit with them and provide the necessary training. If you don't have feet on the ground, you don't really recognize what needs to be trained.
You mentioned that your board is very well adept in the safety program and they're behind it 100%. How did you manage to convince them to do that?
I think some of it's because we were one of the people that started it. I think they're very proud of that, but I think also the management commitment brings the board across, and I think they come to realize exactly just how important it really is to have a good, safe program here.
This year marks the 20th year of Ag Services. Did you think it would last as long as it has?
Yes, but I never dreamed that it was ever going to grow to the size that it is. We started Safety Compliance Committee #1. I don't think we any more than just barely got it up running, and there was 2 more groups already forming. I'd like to thank KFSA for all the help that they've given us over the years with the safety program. If it hadn't been for KFSA helping us get it off the ground in the first place, I don't know if it would have ever survived. Scott Anderson was the first one to head up the program. I think he's done an excellent job, and I want to thank him. I'm pretty proud of the safety program. It's done everything we asked it to do. It's grown much bigger than we ever dreamed it was going to be. I think it's probably one of the best there is in the country. And obviously, because I think we've been recognized many times by industry. It's done everything we ever asked it to do, and I want to thank you all.